The elves go through the unfortunate task of having to prepare for Santa's retirement, while Santa himself begins interviewing replacement Santas, including Simon Chosky himself. As Santa and Simon bond while trying to locate Simon's daughter Grace, eventually Santa decides that yes, indeed, this is the new Santa, and cedes the mantle over to Simon. This is the least of the problems, as up at the North Pole, Simon Chosky has merged the Santa delivery system with his e-commerce company, and as a result has created Christmas every day, completely demystifying the spirit of the holiday. This proves a breaking point for Noel after several elves mysteriously begin disappearing after being overworked. So it falls upon him to break away from the group in a valiantly futile attempt to bring back Scott Calvin. This is The Santa Clauses, episodes 3 and 4. So, yeah, okay, sorry if this is a little haggard, that intro bit took a lot of takes. Anyway, this is definitely an improvement a little bit here. There's some interesting points that are being explored, again, because, you know, he, early on, as he's interviewing, including Peyton Manning, that's the whole celebrity joke there. Anyway, you know, as they have this thing happen where the Choskys are brought up to the North Pole, and it's sort of explained, like, you're going to basically audition to be the new Santa Claus, and if you make it, you stay here. If not, you'll be sent home and your mind will be wiped, except Grace, for some reason, will have her memory intact because she's young and she still believes. So, you know, they're going through the interview process. Grace and Sandra are, well, first Cal is giving the tour, but then Sandra takes Grace away on a tour of her own. And it's there that Sandra notices that she has the ability to talk to animals, and she goes to visit this witch that lives in these woods that are just outside the elf headquarters. And Grace goes with her, and as a result they become lost, and Scott and Simon go, I'm going to refer to him as Scott in this case, Santa and Simon, or whatever. Santa in this case is Scott. Okay, I'm gonna, because Simon doesn't really become Santa Claus. So Santa and Simon go out looking, and they sort of bond a little bit. You know, Simon talks about his wife dying and how he started this non-profit charity to get toys to those who need them. And, you know, it's, you know, talks about this is what kind of convinces Scott to cede the mantle of Santa over to him. However, as this happens, the the suit doesn't seem to want this to happen. And you eventually figure out why, as the suit runs away, and that's when that's when Simon starts talking about merging the e-company into his e-commerce company, which I think is Everything Everywhere All at Once. They're literally calling it that. Or it's Everything Everywhere, or Everything You Want on Time, or something to that effect. And yeah, that's when things it's where things start sort of falling apart up there, because the idea is, the elves initially say, like, yeah, because it's like, what's your favorite day? Christmas. What's your least favorite day? Every other day that isn't Christmas. Which doesn't really make a lot of sense, because wouldn't it be, would it be Christmas because Christmas would be their day off? Yeah, would it be the other way around? Wouldn't your favorite day be making all the toys over and over again? Anyway, like I said, he's able to merge, you know, the Santa technology of how they can travel all around the world within, you know, within a night. And from there, they, so he's able to abuse the system and create Christmas every day. So the elves can work, they can make all the toys, and everything gets immediately shipped within seconds, because you don't even have to properly order it. All you have to do is think of it, and the gift comes to you. However, as the two chief elves in this case, Betty and her boyfriend Noel, they get the like I said, they just start pointing out, like, you know, if Christmas is every day, then people don't want to celebrate Christmas. Yeah, Christmas is more than just gifts. It's the spirit of giving. It's the togetherness. It's the anticipation of getting the gifts. It's not just the gifts. You know, if you're getting Christmas every day, then Christmas itself is no longer special. And, you know, he doesn't believe this, and as this has happened, like I said, the suit has run away, And like I said, and this happens mostly in episode 4. But yeah, this is where Noel, if you can't remember, Noel is like he's an interesting idea for a character in that he's an elf that is just hopelessly devoted to this incarnation of Santa Claus. But the problem is, it's the same problem. It's like, the other elves I think have better characterization. Noel should have had this as well, where, yeah, okay, he's upset that Santa's leaving, but no one's like taking him aside to try to comfort him on this. So he just, every time he doubts Simon, it just makes him look like a petulant brat. Which, again, this is the weird thing, because he's supposed to be 900 years old. He's married to Betty, who's like the chief elf, second only to Santa in command, basically. And this is where, but he's also the one who's like, the second something bad happens, he's like, where he's immediately crying and everything's ruined. Santa's this and Santa's that. And then, I have to bring Santa back. Like I said, the problem is with those elves, where most of them are characterized as adults, children playing adults, basically. And, they talk like adults, they sound like adults, they move like adults. But then other times they're little children again, and they're crying over a scraped knee or something like that. They want to hug the new Santa, and it's like, but and you kind of get a little bit. Now that's where some of the interesting parts too come in, where Simon is very much the techbro.com guy, where he's delivering inspiring speeches over the PA system and rocking everyone up, but it's like, you can't hug him because that would be, inappropriate touching or something to that effect. And, it's like, I have this really great idea, but I don't quite follow through on the full ramifications of the idea. And yeah, I guess I'd also bring out the little weird joke that has achieved meme status in the last few days, which is weird because it was in episode 3, which was last week. But yeah, where they're throwing a goodbye party for Scott and the Calvins, and they're spelling out, "We'll miss you, Santa," but they fudge up the Santa into Satan. Which I point out, they did that joke on Home Improvement first. There was a Christmas episode where they're performing in a choir, and the boys are supposed to have Noel on their choir robes, but they get backwards and they spell Leon. So, yeah, yeah, that's one of the weirder points too. Like I said, overall, I would say these are better episodes because I think that the problem. And if you realize I haven't talked much about the Calvins in Chicago, it's just kind of because there's not much there. It's just the idea of everyone else manages to adjust to normal life a lot quicker than Scott, because he's still making Christmas things. Like, he bumps into some kid, he goes, "Oh, that's right, I remember I bought you that Baby Yoda for Christmas. Oh, that's right, you like Tinker Toys." And there's kind of there's just that idea that he's adjusting a little slower, and he, like I said, part of the idea is he did this to spend more time with his family, but eventually, Cal gets a girlfriend, he wants to be with her all the time. Sandra eventually falls in with a group of horse enthusiasts, so she wants to be with them all the time. Carol gets this job, so she goes to work, and so yeah, he's getting kind of left behind, though. Just as this is ending, he wants to leave. They do seem down to have like a familiar Christmas. So because the idea is, as this is all happening over the span of the years between a year between the Christmases. And I would say too, the other drawback is, again, they even point this out in the plot, which is Grace, who's Simon's daughter. You'd think would be a bit more important, but she vanishes almost entirely in the 4th episode. And they call him out on it, like, "Hey, do you know where Grace is? Don't you think you should maybe be with her at this point?" And yeah. And obviously this is setting up for Bernard to return. And in fact, that's the big end stinger for the episode. So yeah, overall, these are better episodes. I think I would give them a B, just because I think they are a little... the annoying traits are lessened enough so that the story can come through a little bit more. That being said, this is still pretty flawed. This is one of those, I don't know if this really needed to be told over a 6-episode series, like maybe 4 episodes. Yeah, like have it be, Santa realizes he needs to retire, selects Simon, and that this is the 3rd episode, and then lead into the 4th as the big finale, because that's where this seems to be heading. So yeah, and also the 4th episode is a little long-winded, and I guess I should have pointed out the other sort of big spoiler, which is because the elves are getting overworked, they are basically dissolving into dust. Like, they get really antsy, and every time they get overly worked and emotional, they just go, and they're gone. And once this happens in front of Simon and Betty, Simon seems to just play off, like, well, I could find someone else. And Betty's like, no, you can't. You have to stop this. I have to insert. It's like, well, I'm Santa and you're not. You're fired. And this is what spurs her to go on and get Bernard. So yeah, that's the big thing that happens there. But other than that, it is kind of yeah, like I said, I gave this a B. I think it's better, but it's still kind of flawed in some places. But hopefully things can wrap up nicely. That being said, if you are looking for a better, we need to find a replacement Santa movie, go watch Ernest Saves Christmas. It's shorter, and like I said, it's a better movie. So yeah.
Christmas is a time for closeness, and closeness is what Norelco razors are all about. The rotary razors with 36 blades. They come in cord and rechargeable models. They're the razors that cured the gotchas. And the ladybugs, the ladies' razors that really work. And the Ladybug Salon, a ladybug razor plus 11 grooming attachments. Norelco, even our name says Merry Christmas.
Okay, so again, sorry this is so late. I meant to have this up by Thursday. Unfortunately, we had a kind of vicious little cold snap come right through here, and the heater malfunctioned. So the resulting case of hypothermia really sapped any desire to shoot a video at this point. So yeah, that's why this is delayed, and unfortunately I'm going to have to probably push back the random trade review to Sunday at the earliest. It might even be Monday at this point. I'm not entirely sure. I wish I could have I was all set to get this done and get it all ready to go, and yeah, it's like, again, it was freezing cold, and it took hours for it to really recover back, and it just sapped my strength. Like, couldn't really do much of anything except curl up under a blanket. So, sorry. Yeah. So the next review is it's the random trade review. I mean, yeah. Then we'll do the first 2 episodes of Willow. Then maybe in the first 3 episodes of Willow at this point. And then we'll do sorry again, I'm blanking right now. And then there's Impact Wrestling on the 4th. See you all next time. Hey guys, remember you can request a movie or a television series for me to review at my Patreon at patreon.com/CPTime for Cat Productions. Also, remember to like the video, comment, share, subscribe, and ring that notification bell so that you can be alerted to further videos.